many of us wish we could enjoy summer all year. The water, the bikes, pretty much just not being here. But sadly, that just isn't an option for those of us up north. There comes a time at the end of every season where the lakes freeze over and the snow begins to fly. Now, many boats have covers included, which in themselves are enough protection for rainy seasons. But in the northern part of the hemisphere, snow accumulation is a major problem. And if you don't have access to a large, covered shelter for your boat, well, that can be a problem too. I recently found some plans online to help mitigate the risk of snow buildup. The basic idea is to build a frame out of PVC or ABS tubing. I chose ABS because it's supposedly stronger and supposed to perform better in colder temperatures, and because I found it first at the hardware store. But really, either option would work just fine. For this installation, I used approximately 8 lengths of ABS pipe, 6 T-connectors, a 45-degree elbow, and some screws. Creating the frame does involve a bit of hands-on estimation and guesswork. Start at one end of the boat, and place 2 pipes in places that they'll be stable enough and not move easily. Typically in the corners of the boat deck, or even better in some storage areas. Oh, and you can wrap cloths or towels around the ends to prevent scuffing if that is a concern to you. Essentially, where these pipes meet was where they'll need to be cut and inserted into the T-connectors. Do this along the length of the boat in at least 3 areas, close to the bow, midship, and aft. See, I can talk a good boat. The idea here is to create as steep of a slope as possible along the length of the boat, while at the same time along the width of the boat, with the highest point being in the middle. Use the 45-degree elbow as a peak for the frame. Once all the joints are fitted and connected, secure them in place with a screw or 2. And at this point, it's also a good idea to add padding around any sharp or potentially rough areas of your boat. And using a pool noodle, cut along its length, is a great way to protect your winter wrapping from your boat's windshield. Now, admittedly, I went a little overboard on this part, but I tied some rope from the frame down to the sides of the boat. This was to help keep the frame in place, but to add a little extra support for the wrapping. For the next step, ideally, you could use that heat shrink wrapping as the outer shell, but I wasn't able to source some for anything close to a reasonable price. So I just picked up a large tarp. Make sure that it's large enough that there is significant overhang. Essentially, I just tied it rather tightly around the underside of the vessel, and it was good to go. I tried a little extra with some ratchet straps around the entire outer hull, but this didn't actually seem to do much at all. The real key here is to make sure the tarp is nice and tight and snug at all points. If done properly, the slope is far too steep to allow accumulation of snow on top of the shell. And 6 months later, it worked wonderfully. The boat stayed dry and there was no pooling on the outer tarp. You'll have to excuse the messiness of my boat though. I still need to give it its spring vacuum and cleanup. I would also recommend including one of these moisture capture bags. That is, if you have a tight enough seal around your tarp or wrapping. Otherwise, it would merely be capturing moisture from the outside air. Finally, before you disassemble your frame for storage, make sure you use masking tape and a marker to mark which piece goes where. Then, once you pull it apart, it's far less of a mess to put back together. So, there you have it. And this worked really well for me over the winter up here in Alberta, Canada. I was able to leave my boat covered like this all winter without having to clear snow from it a single time. So, I hope something like this can work for you too. Do you see any potential improvements for this method? I'd love to hear what might work even better than this. Leave your comments below. And I'd really appreciate a like on the video too. If you're up for it, check out my other videos and my main channel, all about West Edmonton Mall and its nostalgic history. Thanks for watching.